When I moved in to apartment 4C, everyone told me the building was quiet. They were right. Too quiet. The hallway never echoed with conversations. Nobody slammed doors. You'd occasionally hear footsteps, but they always stopped before reaching your apartment. The unit directly across from mine, 4D, looked occupied. A welcome mat sat outside. Packages appeared every few days and disappeared by morning. At night, warm light glowed beneath the door. But in 3 months I lived there, I never saw anyone go in or out. I figured our schedules just never lined up. One Thursday evening, I got home later than usual. As I unlocked my door, I noticed someone standing at the peephole of 4D. He wasn't looking through it. He was standing perfectly still, with his face inches away from the door, as if listening to something inside. "Everything okay?" I asked. He slowly turned toward me. He looked exhausted. Dark circles under his eyes, wrinkled clothes. He glanced both ways down the hallway before speaking. "Do you live across from me?" "Yeah." His expression changed. "No," he whispered. "You don't." Before I could ask what he meant, he unlocked the door and stepped inside. The next morning, I knocked to introduce myself. Nobody answered. Later that afternoon, I asked the building manager about him. She frowned. "Apartment 4D has been empty for almost a year." I laughed. "I literally talked to the guy yesterday." She stared at me. "I have the only key." That should have been enough for me. It wasn't. That night, curiosity got the better of me. At exactly 2:14 a.m., I looked through my peephole. The hallway was empty, except the door to 4D was open, just a few inches. Warm yellow light spilled across the carpet. I stood there for almost a minute before opening my own door. The hallway felt colder than usual. "Hello?" I called. No answer. I stepped closer. The apartment smelled normal. Fresh coffee, laundry detergent. Someone was living there. I pushed the door open. The furniture looked old but clean. A television played static. Family photos covered one wall. As I walked further inside, something caught my attention. Every photo included me. Not pictures taken from a distance. Family photos, birthdays, Christmas mornings, graduations, vacations. Except the person standing beside me in every picture wasn't anyone I recognized. A tall man with a tired face. The same man I'd spoken to. I backed toward the hallway. That's when I heard my apartment door close. Softly click. I ran outside. My apartment door was shut. Locked. I unlocked it with shaking hands. Everything looked normal, until I noticed the framed photo sitting on my kitchen counter. It wasn't mine. It showed me standing in my apartment, looking straight at the camera. Behind me, the man from 4D was smiling. I threw the picture away. The next morning, it was back on the counter. Over the next week, more photographs appeared. Each one showed moments from my day. Sleeping, cooking, watching television, always taken from inside my apartment. I searched every room, and nothing. No hidden cameras, no signs of anyone breaking in. I finally called the police. 2 officers searched the apartment from top to bottom. One of them asked if I had an attic access panel. "There isn't one," I said. He pointed above my hallway closet. "There is now." I never noticed. A small square hatch. The officer pulled it down. Dust drifted into the hallway. His flashlight swept across the darkness. Then he saw it moving. "What is it?" I asked. He climbed down without answering. His face had gone pale. "We're leaving." "What do you see?" "You don't want to know." They sealed the hatch and left. The next day, I received a call from the building manager. She sounded confused. "The officer said your apartment doesn't have an attic." I stared at the ceiling. "What?" They couldn't find the hatch. I opened my hallway closet. The ceiling was smooth. No opening, no outline, nothing. I moved out that weekend. 6 months later, I received a package with no return address. Inside was a framed family photo. Me, the tired man. 2 children I had never seen before. all of this standing in front of apartment 4D. Written neatly across the back were 6 words: "Come home. They're asking about you." The company I worked for was small enough that everyone knew everyone. There were 23 employees, 1 office, and a shared network drive where we stored everything. Every project, every invoice, every employee file. One Monday morning, I logged in to find a new folder, employee recordings. Nobody had mentioned it. Inside were 23 video files, 1 for every employee, including me. I assumed it was some kind of HR training archive. Out of curiosity, I opened my coworker Brian's file. The video wasn't from the office. It showed Brian asleep in his bedroom. The timestamp read 2:41 a.m. I closed it immediately. There had to be some explanation. Maybe it was fake, AI generated, a prank. Then Brian walked into the office. "You okay?" he asked. I hesitated before saying, "Random question. What were you doing around 3 this morning?" He laughed. "Sleeping, hopefully. You live alone, right?" His smile disappeared. "How do you know that?" I made up an excuse and changed the subject. All day, I couldn't stop thinking about those videos. Before leaving, I opened another file. Sarah. She was reading a book on her couch. The camera angle came from inside her living room. She suddenly looked directly into the lens, then stood up. The video ended. I checked the timestamp. It had been recorded the previous night. Someone was filming my coworkers inside their homes. I finally opened my own file. The video began with me brushing my teeth, then making coffee, and falling asleep on my couch while the television played in the background. The camera slowly moved closer, not digitally, physically step by step, until it stood beside me. I woke up in the video, looked straight toward the camera, and whispered, "You're early." The recording ended. I never remembered saying those words. I called our IT manager. By the time he reached the folder, it was gone. He checked the server logs. According to the system, the folder had never existed. That night, I couldn't sleep. Around 1:30 a.m., I heard a notification from my laptop. It had powered itself on. One new file had appeared. Live. I clicked it. A security camera feed opened. It was my apartment. The angle looked down from the upper corner of my living room. I didn't own a camera. The feed showed me sitting exactly where I was, watching the screen. Then someone walked behind me, tall, wearing black, face hidden. I spun around, nothing. When I looked back at the laptop, the figure was still there, standing behind the version of me on the screen. It leaned toward my ear. The version of me nodded. Then both of them looked directly into the camera. The feed disconnected. I searched every inch of my apartment. Nothing. No one, no cameras. The next morning, I quit my job. I didn't explain why. A week later, I bought a new laptop, new phone, new accounts. I moved to another city. For months, nothing happened. Then one evening, while organizing old documents, I plugged an external hard drive into my computer. A folder appeared automatically. Employee recordings. I froze. There was only one video inside. Mine. The timestamp was from 5 minutes in the future. Hands shaking, I pressed play. The video showed me, exactly where I was sitting, watching the screen. Then someone knocked on my apartment door. 3 slow knocks. The version of me in the video stood up to answer it. Before opening the door, he looked directly into the camera and smiled. Quietly said, "Don't worry, he thinks he's the real one." At that exact moment, 3 slow knocks echoed through my apartment. I've never been afraid of unknown numbers. Spam calls, wrong numbers, prank messages. I usually ignore them. But one night, at exactly 11:56 p.m., my phone buzzed with a notification. Unknown sender. 1 voice message. 4 minutes. I stared at it for a few seconds. There was no text, no name, just a 4-minute recording. I almost deleted it. Instead, I put on my headphones and pressed play. For the first 20 seconds, there was nothing, just faint static. I thought maybe the file was corrupted. Then I heard footsteps, slow, heavy, walking across old wooden floors. The steps echoed as if they were inside an empty house. A door creaked open. Someone inhaled sharply. Then a man's voice whispered, "Don't make a sound. He doesn't know I'm here." I frowned. It sounded exactly like one of those fake horror recordings people upload online. I took off my headphones and laughed to myself. But something felt strange. The room in the recording sounded familiar. I couldn't explain why. I put the headphones back on. The footsteps continued. A clock chimed somewhere in the background. Then I heard a soft clicking sound. I froze. My ceiling fan made that exact clicking noise every few seconds. I looked up. The fan above me matched the sound in the recording perfectly. I paused the message. The room fell silent. I waited. The fan clicked again. I told myself it was just a coincidence. I pressed play. The footsteps stopped. The man whispered again. "He's still asleep." A chill ran through me. I lived alone. No one should have been talking about anyone sleeping. I stood up and checked every room in my apartment. The bathroom was empty, kitchen, closets. I even checked behind the shower curtain. Nothing. Feeling ridiculous, I locked my front door and returned to my bed. The recording had 1 minute left. I hit play again. The footsteps started moving once more. Only this time, they sounded closer, not louder, like whoever was walking had entered a smaller room. I heard fabric rustling, a slow breath, then the whisper returned. "He's waking up." The hairs on my arms stood straight up. My phone screen lit up. 11:59 p.m. At that exact second, my bedroom door slowly creaked open. Just a few inches. I stared at it. No one was there. No footsteps, no shadow. Nothing. I couldn't breathe. The recording kept playing. The footsteps entered the room, but my apartment was completely silent. The voice whispered one last time, "Don't look under the bed." Every instinct told me not to move. I should have listened. Instead, I slowly knelt beside the bed. My hands were shaking so badly, I could barely hold the phone. I lowered myself until I could see into the darkness beneath the frame. At first, nothing. Then I saw another phone. Its screen was glowing. It was recording. The timer read 3:59. Before I could react, it reached 4. My own voice came from underneath the bed, calm, terrified, perfectly clear. "Don't make a sound. He doesn't know I'm here." The recording ended. My bedroom door slammed shut. The lights went out. My phone buzzed again. Unknown sender. 1 new voice message. 4 minutes. I never pressed play, but every night since then, at exactly 11:56 p.m., the timer gets 1 second shorter. The first time I called my own phone, I wasn't expecting anyone to answer. I'd misplaced it somewhere in my apartment, and after searching for nearly 20 minutes, I borrowed my neighbor's phone. I dialed my own number and rang once, twice. Then someone answered. I smiled, assuming I'd accidentally left my phone unlocked. "Hello?" I said. For a few seconds there was only breathing. Then a voice whispered, "Don't speak too loudly." I frowned. "Who's this?" The voice answered immediately. "If he hears you, he'll know we're talking." The line went dead. I stood frozen in the hallway. My neighbor looked at me. Did someone pick up? I think so. We searched the apartment together. The phone was lying between couch cushions. The screen was black. Battery completely dead. There was no way anyone could have answered. I convinced myself I'd imagined it. Maybe the call had connected to another number somehow. Maybe someone was playing a prank. But the next morning, I had almost forgotten about it, until my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Silence. Then the same voice. "You shouldn't have looked for the phone." My stomach tightened. Who is this? "He knows where you live now." The call ended. I blocked the number. 5 minutes later, another unknown number called. Same voice. "Blocking me doesn't block him." That night, I unplugged everything in my bedroom. The television, the computer, even the smart speaker. I wanted silence. At around 2 a.m., I woke up to my phone vibrating across the nightstand. Unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. The whisper sounded terrified. "Listen carefully. I'm you." I laughed, not because it was funny, because fear does strange things to people. Very funny. "No, listen, in 4 days, don't answer the front door." I stayed quiet. "Please." The call disconnected. The next 4 days passed normally. No strange noises, no mysterious figures, no more phone calls. By the 4th evening, I had convinced myself someone was just messing with me. Around dinner time, someone knocked. I remembered the warning, "Don't answer the front door." I ignored it. Another knock, then another. After several minutes, whoever it was finally left. The next morning, my landlord asked why I hadn't answered. Apparently a maintenance worker had come to replace a faulty smoke detector. I laughed nervously. The warning had been meaningless, or so I thought. That night, my phone rang again. "Good." It was the same voice. "You're still alive." "What are you talking about?" "The person at the door wasn't maintenance." I felt a knot form in my stomach. The landlord said he never sent anyone. I called my landlord immediately, straight to voicemail. The next morning I asked him in person. He looked confused. I didn't schedule maintenance this week. I never told him why I asked. The calls continued every night. Each one lasted less than a minute. Each one ended with another warning. "Don't take the elevator tomorrow. Don't stay late at work. Don't drive on the highway." Every warning seemed ridiculous until each one came true. The elevator got stuck for 3 hours. My office building caught fire after everyone had gone home. A massive accident shut down the highway. Weeks passed. I stopped questioning the calls. If the voice warned me, I listened. One night, I finally asked the question that had been haunting me. "If you're really me, what happens to you?" The line stayed silent for nearly 30 seconds. Then, I answered a different phone call. Before I could ask what that meant, the call ended. After that, everything changed. The warning stopped. Instead, the voice only asked questions. "Do you hear footsteps? Is your bedroom door closed?" Every answer I gave seemed to make the voice more frightened. Finally, one night, he whispered, "It's already inside." Every light in my apartment went out. Not flickered. Out. Complete darkness. Then footsteps, slow and heavy, walking across my living room, exactly like someone searching the apartment. I couldn't move. The voice stayed on the line, breathing heavily. "Don't let it know you're awake." The footsteps stopped outside my bedroom. Silence. Then 3 slow knocks on the bedroom door. The voice whispered, "Don't answer." The doorknob turned very slowly. The bedroom door opened. No one was standing there. Just darkness. Then the voice began crying. "It found you." The call disconnected. I don't remember falling asleep. Maybe I never did. When morning came, I found muddy footprints leading from my front door to my bed. Only one set. Whoever walked through my apartment had never left. I threw the phone that day, bought a new one, changed my number, moved to another city. For almost a year, nothing happened. Then yesterday, I lost my new phone. I borrowed a stranger's, dialed my own number. It rang once, twice. Then someone answered. A frightened voice whispered, "Don't speak too loudly." I recognized it instantly. It was my own voice, and before I could warn him, I heard another voice in the background, much closer, calm, patient, almost smiling. "He hears you now." I take the same bus every night after work, Route 17. The last bus leaves downtown at 11:30 p.m., and by the time it reaches my stop, there are usually only 3 or 4 people left. It's quiet. Everyone keeps to themselves. That's why I noticed the empty seat. It wasn't just empty, it stayed empty every single night. No matter how crowded the bus became, nobody ever sat in the seat directly across from me. At first, I thought it was coincidence. Maybe people preferred standing. Maybe they wanted seats closer to the front. But after nearly 2 weeks, it became impossible to ignore. One rainy Friday, the bus was packed. People were standing shoulder to shoulder. An elderly man stepped toward the empty seat. Before he could sit, a teenage girl grabbed his arm. "No," she whispered, "not that one." The old man looked confused. He shrugged and stood for the rest of the ride. I watched the seat, still empty. When my stop came, I finally asked the driver, Why does nobody sit there? He looked at me in the mirror. What seat? The one across from me. His face turned pale. There isn't a seat across from you. I laughed. Yes, there is. He didn't answer. Instead, he pulled the bus over, opened the doors, and told me to get off. I thought he was joking. He wasn't. The next evening, another driver was working the route. I decided not to mention what had happened. Everything felt normal, until an old woman boarded. She walked slowly down the aisle. She stopped beside me, looked directly at the empty seat, then looked at me, her eyes filled with tears. "You've been talking to it," she whispered. Before I could ask what she meant, she got off at the very next stop, even though it wasn't hers. That night, I searched online for Route 17. Nothing unusual, just schedules, maps, old photos. Then I found an article from 12 years ago. A late-night bus had crashed into a bridge support. 7 passengers died. The attached photo showed the damaged bus. My stomach dropped. The seat across from where I always sat was completely crushed. The next night I boarded anyway. I told myself ghost stories weren't real. I sat in my usual place. The empty seat faced me. The bus pulled away. Halfway through the route, I heard someone clear their throat softly from directly in front of me. I looked up. Nothing. Then the cushion sank, like someone had just sat down. No one else reacted. The bus kept moving. My hands started shaking. A few moments later, I heard breathing, slow, patient, coming from the empty seat. I stared at it, trying to convince myself her eyes were playing tricks on me. Then, a wet footprint appeared on the floor, right beneath the seat. Another, invisible feet stepping into the aisle, walking toward me. They stopped inches from my shoes. The bus lights flickered. When they came back on, the seat wasn't empty anymore. A man sat there. His clothes were soaked. His face was covered in dried blood. One side of his head looked crushed. He smiled not kindly, like he'd been waiting. "You finally noticed me." I couldn't speak. No one else on the bus even looked up. He leaned forward. His voice sounded like broken glass. "I've been riding home for 12 years. The lights flickered again, and he disappeared. Everyone else remained perfectly still, almost too still. I looked around. Not one passenger had blinked. Not one. The driver announced my stop. I stumbled off the bus. I didn't sleep. The next evening, I drove instead. Halfway home, I got stuck behind Route 17. I watched it stop to pick up passengers. One by one, people climbed aboard. Then the doors opened again. No one was there, but the bus lowered slightly, as if someone had stepped inside. The doors closed, the bus drove away. I told myself I'd never ride it again. 3 months later, my car broke down. There was only one way home, Route 17. When it arrived, the bus was almost empty. The driver looked exhausted. I paid my fare. As I walked to the back, every passenger slowly turned their heads toward me at the exact same time. Not one of them smiled. Not one of them spoke. They were all staring at the empty seat, waiting. I stopped walking. The driver called out, "Sir?" I turned around. He looked terrified. "You forgot something." "What?" He pointed behind me. "Someone's already saving that seat." I slowly looked over my shoulder. The blood-covered man was sitting there again, only this time he wasn't alone. Every seat around him was filled by people whose faces looked just like mine, each one bruised, broken, silent. They all smiled together. Then in the same voice they whispered, "You're finally on the right bus." The doors slammed shut. The bus pulled away. It never appeared on the route map again. But every now and then, if you wait alone at a bus stop after midnight, a bus with no route number will stop. Every seat will be occupied, except one, the one waiting for you.